Ladies and gentlemen, let me start with a little truth that might surprise you. The future will take care of itself if you take care of today. See, the future isn't some mysterious force coming to get you. It's not a storm waiting behind the next hill. The future is simply the accumulation of what you're doing right now, repeated with interest. People ask me, "Aren't you worried about what's coming?" I say, why would I worry about it tomorrow? I'm preparing for today. You don't need to predict the future to prepare for it. What you need is discipline. You need a plan. You need the willingness to get up a little earlier, stay up a little later, learn a little more, save a little more, love a little deeper. Worry is just imagination used poorly. It's painting pictures of disaster on the canvas of your mind. But you have another choice. You can use that same imagination to envision success, peace, growth, impact. Now, does that mean everything will go perfectly? Of course not. Life doesn't hand out guarantees, but it does respond to effort, to consistency, to character. You see, you don't overcome fear of the future by hiding from it. You overcome it by becoming stronger, wiser, more valuable. You train your mind like you train a muscle, by giving it challenges, not comforts. The secret isn't to wish for an easier tomorrow. It's to build a better you today. So, don't worry about the future. Build for it, prepare for it, shape it with your decisions. Because if you take care of the moments, the years will take care of themselves. And when the future finally arrives, it won't catch you off guard. It'll find you ready. The future isn't some random event waiting to happen. It doesn't suddenly appear with all its rewards or consequences without cause. The truth is, the future is shaped by the little things we do every single day. It's not built in a year or even a month. It's formed in the quiet, often unnoticed routines of daily life. Every choice, every habit, every hour spent in effort or wasted in distraction is a brick in the foundation of what's coming. Some people look ahead and worry. They wonder what tomorrow will bring, what the economy will do, or whether their plans will work out. But most of what people call the future is simply the echo of their daily discipline. The actions you take today ripple outward. If you're learning today, you'll be wiser tomorrow. If you're saving today, you'll be more secure tomorrow. If you're building relationships, owning your craft, showing up with excellence, those things don't disappear. They compound. They accumulate. They work in the background, whether or not you see the results right away. This is why small disciplines matter so much, because the results may not show up today or even next week, but they are on the way. The seeds you plant don't bloom immediately, but that doesn't mean they aren't growing. The farmer doesn't panic the day after planting because there's no harvest yet. He trusts the process. He knows what he put in the ground, and he knows what will come out of it if he tends it with patience and consistency. It works the other way too. If you neglect your responsibilities today, the future will show you that. If you put off the important work, stay up too late for the wrong reasons, spend money you don't have, or feed your mind with negativity, the effects of those decisions will come to greet you eventually. No one escapes the law of cause and effect. The future doesn't take bribes, and it doesn't offer shortcuts. It just reflects. This idea shouldn't be discouraging. It should be deeply empowering. Because if you don't like where your life is heading, you have the ability to shift that direction starting now. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to transform everything overnight. You just need to make today count. You need to show up with intention, to take responsibility for what's in your control, and to stop blaming outside forces for the path you're on. The moment you take ownership of your actions, you take ownership of your future. It's easy to get caught up in grand plans, to dream about where you'll be in 5 or 10 years. And there's nothing wrong with dreaming, but dreams without daily effort are just wishes. You have to back them up with work, with habits, with priorities. It's in the quiet hours of discipline where your future is really built. Not on stage, not in the spotlight, but when no one is watching and you're doing the hard things anyway. So ask yourself, what are you putting into motion today? What seeds are you planting in your relationships, your health, your mind, your finances, your character? The answers to those questions will tell you more about your future than any prediction ever. Because the future doesn't just happen. It responds to you. It's a mirror held up to your choices. And if you're willing to honor today, the reflection you see tomorrow might just surprise you. Many people spend a great deal of time trying to predict what's going to happen next. They watch the news obsessively, read trends, analyze markets, and speculate about all the things that might go wrong. But the truth is, no one really knows what's coming. The future isn't something we can fully see or control. What we can do, however, is prepare for it. And preparation, real, thoughtful, disciplined preparation, will always beat prediction. You don't need a crystal ball to create a better tomorrow. What you need is a plan, a clear set of priorities, and the discipline to act on them. While others are guessing, hoping, or fearing, you're working. You're learning, saving, building, growing. That's the difference between those who are tossed around by every shift in circumstance and those who stand firm no matter what comes. Preparation doesn't require certainty. It just requires clarity and action. You don't have to know what's going to happen in the world. You only have to know who you want to become and what you need to do today to move toward that. You may not be able to prepare for every specific event, but you can build strength, resilience, and readiness in yourself that will carry you through whatever shows up. Think of a ship captain who doesn't know exactly what kind of weather will come during the journey. Instead of guessing every detail of the sea ahead, he focuses on checking the sails, maintaining the ship, training the crew, and watching the skies. He doesn't waste time worrying about every possible storm. He makes sure he's ready for any storm. That's the mindset of someone who understands that preparation is a far better investment than speculation. The same principle applies in every area of life. In business, the most successful people aren't necessarily the best at forecasting. They're the best at adapting because they've done the foundational work. They've trained their teams. managed their risks, sharpened their skills. In personal finances, the people who thrive long term aren't those who predict every stock movement. They're the ones who consistently save, live within their means, and invest wisely. In relationships, it's not about anticipating every possible conflict. It's about building trust, communication, and emotional maturity so you can navigate anything that comes up. Preparation is a quiet, behind the scenes process. It's not glamorous. It's not exciting. No one applauds you for practicing when there's no spotlight. But when the moment of challenge arrives, when life throws something unexpected at you, it's the prepared person who rises while others fall. They don't need to scramble. They've already done the work. Now, some people confuse preparation with perfection. They wait to act until everything in place, which is just another form of fear disguised as planning. Real preparation isn't about having all the answers. It's about being ready to move forward even when things are uncertain. It's about having built enough character, knowledge, and discipline to respond rather than react. The future doesn't reward those who spend their days guessing. It rewards those who prepare quietly and persistently. The student who studies when no one is watching. The leader who builds systems and trust before there's a crisis. The athlete who trains in the off season. These are the people who don't just survive change, they thrive in it. So, the next time you're tempted to waste energy worrying about what might happen, redirect that energy into preparation. Strengthen your skills. Organize your priorities. Take care of your body. Invest in your relationships. Build something today that will stand tomorrow, no matter which way the wind blows. Because in the long run, it's not the forecast that determines your fate. It's the foundation. Worry is one of the most common uses of the imagination, and unfortunately, it's also one of the most wasteful. Imagination is a powerful gift. It allows us to see what isn't yet real, to picture ideas before they exist, to build dreams in our minds before we bring them into the world. But when that same imagination is used to create fear, doubt, and anxiety about things that haven't happened, it becomes a thief. It robs us of peace in the present and clarity about the future. Most of the things we worry about never actually happen. We imagine the worst case scenario, play it over and over in our heads, and allow it to consume our emotions. We rehearse failure, embarrassment, and loss before they've even occurred. In doing so, we waste valuable mental and emotional energy that could be used for creativity, growth, and action. Worry doesn't prevent trouble. It only prevents joy. It doesn't prepare you. It paralyzes you. It gives you the illusion that you're doing something productive when in reality, you're just feeding fear. It's a mental treadmill that takes up your time and energy, but doesn't move you an inch forward. And yet, people hold on to worry as if it's a form of control. If I think about every possible thing that could go wrong, they tell themselves, maybe I'll be ready for it. But worry doesn't make you ready. Preparation does. Thoughtful planning does. Calm reflection does. Worry just clouds your thinking and ties your stomach in knots. The mind is like a projector, and imagination is the film you run through it If you keep playing scenes of failure, disaster, and loss, you'll live in constant tension, even if none of those things ever happen. But if you choose to run a different film, one filled with purpose, possibility, and courage, your entire state of being shifts. You start to approach life with strength instead of hesitation. This doesn't mean you should be naive or ignore potential challenges. It means you use your imagination wisely. Instead of worrying, you visualize solutions. Instead of creating pictures of what could go wrong, you create images of how you'll handle things if they do. You mentally rehearse strength, resourcefulness, and composure. That's the mature use of imagination. That's how leaders, creators, and resilient people think. Children use their imagination to pretend to dream, to explore possibilities without limits. As we grow older, we often trade that playfulness for worry, thinking it's the responsible thing to do. But responsibility is not the same as anxiety. Being responsible means thinking ahead and taking wise action. Being anxious means thinking in circles and doing nothing productive with it. You can't control everything that happens to you, but you can control what happens in you. You can control the pictures you paint in your mind. You can control where you place your focus. And that's the secret. Worry is not a fact, it's a habit. And like any habit, it can be changed. It won't disappear overnight. But with awareness and intention, you can train your mind to use imagination as a tool for good rather than a weapon against yourself. The same mind that invents fear can also invent solutions. The same imagination that creates stress can create hope, goals, and vision. The only difference is how you direct it. You are the one holding the paintbrush, choosing the colors, deciding the scenes. You are not a victim of your imagination. You are its author. So when worry shows up, recognize it for what it is, misused imagination. Then take a breath, redirect that energy, and start imagining something better. Imagine yourself handling the challenge. Imagine the growth that could come from the struggle. Imagine the peace that follows bold, thoughtful action. And in that shift, you'll find that your greatest fears lose their power, and your greatest strengths come alive. Doubt is natural. It visits everyone at some point. The hesitation before taking a risk, the voice that questions your ability, the uncertainty about whether your effort will be worth it. Doubt whispers all kinds of things. What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if I'm wasting my time? And while those questions might seem harmless, if you give them too much attention, they begin to stall your momentum and drain your courage. That's where discipline becomes your best ally. Discipline doesn't wait for confidence. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't require perfect conditions. It simply shows up. Discipline is the ability to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it, even when doubt is loud, even when motivation is low. It's the quiet power that says, yes, I hear the fear, but I'm moving anyway. When doubt tells you that your work doesn't matter, discipline sits you down and gets the work done. When doubt says you're not improving fast enough, discipline keeps you practicing. When doubt reminds you of all the times you failed before, Discipline helps you get back up and try again. It's not emotional. It's not dramatic. It doesn't need applause. It just keeps going. This is important because if you only act when you feel confident or inspired, you'll spend most of your life waiting. Feelings are fickle. They change with your mood, your environment, or even the weather. But discipline is a choice. It doesn't ask how you feel. It asks what you've committed to. It creates consistency, and in time, that consistency builds real confidence. Not the kind of confidence that comes and goes, but the kind that's earned by following through on your word to yourself. Doubt thrives in silence and inaction. The more time you give it, the louder it gets. But discipline interrupts that cycle. It replaces rumination with action. It says, I may not be certain, but I'm going to take the next step anyway. One small disciplined step is often all it takes to break through the fog of hesitation. Because doubt feeds on delay, and discipline feeds on progress. People often believe that successful individuals are somehow free from doubt, but the truth is they've just learned not to let it rule their decisions. They've trained themselves to trust their habits more than their emotions. They show up even on the days when they don't feel ready. That's not luck or talent. It's discipline. There's a kind of strength that comes from doing hard things when you don't feel like it, from finishing what you start, from choosing to be reliable even when no one else is watching. Over time, that strength becomes part of who you are. It becomes a quiet confidence that doesn't need to announce itself. You begin to trust yourself, not because everything's easy or certain, because you've proven that you'll keep going anyway. Doubt asks questions that discipline answers through action. Doubt is a storm, unpredictable and emotional. Discipline is the anchor that keeps you steady through it. It doesn't fight the doubt directly. It just keeps you focused on what matters. One task at a time, one commitment at a time, one small act of courage at a time. And here's the best part. Every time you act with discipline, even in the face of doubt, you weaken doubt's grip. You make it just a little easier to move forward the next time. Over time, your track record becomes your reassurance. You don't need to feel certain to move. You just need to move. Because it's not doubt that defines your path. It's what you do in spite of it. And discipline is what turns that decision into a habit, and that habit into a future worth building. Plans are useful. They give direction, offer structure, and help you define your goals. But plans alone aren't enough. The best laid plans fall apart if the person behind them isn't strong, disciplined, and adaptable. That's why it's more important to build yourself than to just build your plans. Because while plans can change, get delayed, or be disrupted by circumstances beyond your control, the person you become in the process is something you carry with you no matter what happens. You can have the most detailed roadmap, complete with timelines and milestones, but if you lack patience, perseverance, or emotional resilience, that plan won't take you far. Take you far, life doesn't always go according to the script. When it doesn't, it's not your plan that will carry you through. It's your character. It's your ability to stay focused under pressure, your willingness to keep learning, and your strength in the face of setbacks that determines how far you'll really go. Building yourself means developing the qualities that success requires, qualities like discipline, honesty, focus, humility, courage, and consistency. It's about becoming the kind of person who can handle both success and failure with grace. When your identity is rooted in personal growth rather than external achievement, you become more adaptable, more grounded, ultimately more capable of handling whatever your journey throws at you. Many people obsess over the outcome. They focus on the house, the job title, the income level, the lifestyle. While those things are fine to aim for, they are not what create a fulfilling life. Fulfilled life is built by someone who has put in the time to grow, who has sharpened their mind, managed their emotions, strengthened their values, and deepened their understanding of themselves and others. You don't become successful because your plan was perfect. You become successful because you refuse to stay the same. You challenged yourself, you learned from your mistakes, and you chose growth when it was hard. That's how you earn real confidence. Not by having every step mapped out, but by becoming someone who can walk forward even when the map changes. Plans are a guide, but personal growth is the engine. The stronger you become, the more capable you are of adjusting your plans when life surprises you. And life will surprise you. The economy shifts. Opportunities dry up. People change. Technology evolves. None of these things are under your control, but your mindset, your habits, and your character. Those are always within your reach. When you focus on building yourself, your value increases. You become someone who contributes more, who solves problems better, who sees things clearly and acts with integrity. And the market always rewards value. It may not happen overnight, but the long-term return is undeniable. People will recognize your consistency. Opportunities will find you, not just because of what you do, but because of who you are. Building yourself also means you're never starting from zero. Even if a plan fails, even if a project falls apart, you've still gained experience, wisdom, and strength. Those things can't be taken from you. They form the core of your ability to start again, stronger and smarter than before. So yes, make your plans, set your goals, dream your dreams. But don't forget the most important part of the journey, who you're becoming along the way, because it's not just about what you're building, it's about who you're building. And when you invest in yourself first, everything else starts to rise to meet you. The present moment is small. It doesn't look like much. It comes quietly, without fireworks or fanfare. But it's the most powerful thing you have. Everything you're building, your goals, your future, your legacy, depends on what you do with the moment right in front of you. It's easy to overlook, to think the big breakthroughs will come in the form of massive events or perfect timing. But in truth, the future is just a long string of present moments. If you take care of those, the rest takes care of itself. Too often, people live in delay. They wait for the right time. They tell themselves they'll start tomorrow, or next week, or next year. They're always looking ahead, caught up in visions of what could be, while ignoring the power of what is. The problem is, life doesn't happen in the future. It happens right here in the now. If you're not handling the now with care and purpose, there's no amount of dreaming that will make up for it. The moment you have right now is where your habits are formed. It's where your decisions are made. It's where your character is shaped. What you choose to do or not do in this moment reveals more about your future than any plan or intention. The small, repeated actions you take, those 5 minutes of reading, that workout you almost skipped, that conversation you chose to have with intention, those are the moments that define your life over time. Most people underestimate the compound effect of consistency. They think greatness comes from big leaps, when in reality, it's usually built by small steps taken repeatedly. Excellence is not a sudden event, it's a lifestyle. And a lifestyle is nothing more than the accumulation of how you treat your moments. If you waste the moment, you weaken the foundation. If you honor the moment, you strengthen it. Taking care of the moments also means being present, not just physically, but mentally. When your attention is scattered, jumping between regrets of the past and anxieties about the future, you miss what's right in front of you. And when you miss the present, you miss your opportunity to make a difference, to do good work, to connect, to grow, to take a step forward. That's why mindfulness matters. Not in some vague or abstract way, but in a practical sense. Being mindful helps you respond instead of react. It helps you make better decisions. It helps you tune in, stay grounded, and make the most of where you are. It's not about being perfect. It's about being awake. Being aware that what you do now is shaping who you'll become later. The people who make the most of their lives aren't necessarily the smartest, richest, or most talented. They're the ones who take care of the moments. They show up even when no one's watching. They stay consistent even when it's boring. They treat each day like it matters because they understand that time is made of moments, and moments are opportunities dressed in ordinary clothes. If you want to change your life, don't wait for a new year or a lucky break. Start with this moment. Take care of it. Respect it. Bring your best to it, even if it's something small. Because when you string enough meaningful moments together, you build momentum. And momentum is what moves mountains. You don't have to be extraordinary to make a moment count. You just have to be intentional. You have to decide that this moment is enough, that it's worth your full attention, that how you do anything is how you do everything. Because when you take care of the moments, the days take care of themselves. The months take care of themselves. And before you know it, you've built a life that reflects the care you gave to each moment along the way.